Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing a makeup look inspired by the Menagerie Cosmetics Killer Purr palette, which looks like this right here. I'll scoot over so you can see it. That's what the palette looks like, and basically I just went through the palette and kind of showed you like shades that I think were kind of similar in my collection, and then I did a look like right here. I don't have exact shades like in the palette, like obviously I don't, but just FYI, I did pre-order the palette, so I'm not like saying not to buy it because I ordered it, you know what I mean? I just wanted to like see if I could like do a look inspired by the shades in the palette and like the palette itself. So yeah, the video is inspired by Anya here on YouTube. This was her video idea and I saw her do it on her channel a bunch of times, and I wanted to like give credit because I actually did this video a while ago doing a look inspired by the Islas Beauty Oceanic palette. Now I have right here, but basically I just looked at the palette like through my phone and just found shades that I thought looked like it and then did a look inspired by it, basically, which is what I did today. Make sure you go subscribe to her channel and show her some love because I honestly love her channel and her like as a whole so much. Her videos are so like cool to watch and very informative. So yeah, without further ado, we would just get on with the video. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get right on in to the video. So first I want to go through each shade in the Killer Purr palette and kind of like see if I have the shades in my collection, because I kind of like went through each palette and like looked at the palette, the Menagerie palette, and just like saw if I had the shades in my own collection. And I actually did find like almost every shade, but not entirely. And each shade that I did find isn't like exactly the same because, I mean, you know, that's like kind of impossible. Like kind of show you if like you wanted this palette and you couldn't get it, and you have these palettes. So I have the Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe, the Thirsty palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics, the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette, Juvia's Place Warrior 3 palette, the Islas Beauty Oceanic palette, the last one, the Juvia's Place X Femme Queen palette. Okay, I actually took some notes so that I would remember. So the first shade, which I'm going to pop up the palette on the side. Okay, so for the first shade in the Killer Purr palette, I actually kind of found a similar shade, but like not really. So the first shade in the Killer Purr palette is Savanna, and when I was going through my collection, I found that the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Thirsty palette, the shade Parched, kind of resembles that, but not really. It's not exact, and like I was thinking, you know, that shade is kind of unique. I don't know what I could really use it for. Well, yeah, I do kind of like blend, set, whatever, but the part shade in the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette was like the closest thing in my collection that I could find, and it's not even really exact. So yeah. Okay, so the shade Cub in the Killer Purr palette, I found a shade similar. It's not exact yet again, but from the Warrior 3 palette from Juvia's Place, I found that this shade kind of resembles it, and I'm not sure how you say this shade's name, so I'm gonna point at it and just like talk about it. So yeah, it's not exact, like I couldn't find exact dupes really, and I'm kind of like glad. That kind of shows me like, hey, you kind of needed this palette, even though it's kind of neutral. But yeah, I found this shade right here was kind of similar. In the Killer Purr palette, the shade Hunter, I found a shade similar, which is the Morphe from the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette, and I found that Boss Angeles, which is this one right here, kind of resembled that. This one I know, like, see, I can't find exact dupes, but I know that these kind of like look similar. But yeah, Boss Angeles, am I even pointing to the right one? Boss Angeles, yes. That one right there kind of resembles, and I just dug my nail in it. Wow, but yeah. From the Killer Purr palette, the shade Prowl, I believe. Yeah, Prowl. I went back to my Jeffree Star Thirsty palette and found that the shade Lick, which is this one right here, kind of resembled it with the shimmers. I really can't find exact dupes. They just can't, like, from the pan, they look different than the swatches, so it was kind of, like, hard. I keep digging my nails into these. Anyway, and now from the Killer Purr palette, the shade Chase, I found a shade similar, which is from the Queen palette from Juvia's Place and Femme collab. I found that the shade Sister to Sister, which is this one right here, kind of resembled it. I felt this one was like almost the closest one. Yeah, this was like the closest one that I could find to like anything. Like out of the whole entire palette, this was like the closest shade that I could find. So yeah, this palette, by the way, well, I love like all the palettes, like I really love this one. I used it on my face for blush and highlighter. I mixed the shade Sister to Sister, Olay, and 7. So I mixed the red Sister to Sister and then the pink together, and then I mixed, and then I put FDV approved for highlighter. Honestly, obsessed. I want to like kind of put that in there in case you were wondering. Okay, now for Antelope in the Killer Purr palette, I could not find an exact shade dupe kind of from my own collection, but from the Morphe X Trophy Star palette again, like when I was trying to find one shade, I was like finding other ones in the same palette. So from the Morphe X Trophy Star palette, if I mixed the What's the Tea and Vroom Vroom, so these two right here, What's the Tea is first, and then Vroom Vroom. If I kind of mix those together, it kind of made Antelope, or it's gonna make Antelope, but that's like the closest thing that I could find in my collection, and I have to like mix two colors. So yeah, What's the Tea and Vroom Vroom from the Morphe X Trophy Star palette. So in the Killer Purr palette, I'm not really sure how you pronounce this, but I think it's called Bio Bob. I found two shades in the Oceanic palette from Islas Beauty. If I mixed them, I kind of found that it would be similar, but I'm not really sure. But if I mixed seaweed and seagrass together, I feel it would make Bio Bob from the Killer Purr palette. Not exact, and I have to make shades, which is kind of annoying. So in the Jaclyn Hill X Morphe palette, the first one, I found a lot of shade dupes. Like, not exact, but I did find some. For Pride in the Killer Purr palette, I found that the 4th row, 7th shade, kind of resembled it. So 4th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th. This palette is humongous, but this one right here, I think, kind of resembles Pride. Similar, not exact. The browns were kind of like tricky because I really don't own that many browns, or if I do, I just didn't look good enough. On Mighty Roar from the Killer Purr palette, I found that this shade right here in the Jaclyn Hill palette resembled it a little bit. I'm not really sure. Like, this one I know was like kind of tricky because I kept going back and forth between these two. So like maybe mixing these two from the Jaclyn Hill palette. Lioness from the Killer Purr palette, I found that this shade right here in the Jaclyn Hill palette kind of resembled it. I'm not going to be swatching, well, I haven't, obviously. But yeah, this one right here, I kind of found resembled it a little bit, but like the shimmer swatches were a little bit difficult because they almost looked the same, because they weren't. So I was a little confused about that one. Okay, now Night Vision from the Killer Purr palette. I found that from the Morphe X Trophy Star palette. The shade, what was it? What's the Tea resembled that one a little bit more. So this one right here, What's the Tea? We talked about What's the Tea and Vroom Vroom earlier. But yeah, I found What's the Tea resembled Night Vision from the Killer Purr palette. Okay, so the last shade I found from the Jaclyn Hill palette. I found like 4 shades from this, I believe. Exactly, yeah. From the Killer Purr palette, the shade Watering Hole. I felt kind of that this shade right here from the Jaclyn Hill palette resembled it. Not exact. Like, this one was very, very unique because like I could not find it. But I felt that one that I just showed, this one right here, kind of resembled it the most. So yeah, that took forever. I'm sorry. Like, if you're still here, props to you. Like, I love you. I love you. Please stay, subscribe. Thank you. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way before I actually started the look, because I wanted to show you like dupes that I found in my own collection. Like I said, I did want to support an indie brand because like I feel like I always like tend to buy from higher end brands and like big brands before I do indie brands, just because like I'm not thinking about them. And that's kind of sad, and I really love Menagerie's palettes, and I definitely want to get more. I got the Killer Purr palette and their magnetic empty palette, like that you can put single shadows in. And then one shimmer shade, it was like Pearl, I believe. I'm not really sure, but I got that, and it's coming. And it's coming the first week of November, I believe. I pre-ordered it. That's how like they always do their launches. So I have to wait like a month, or like I will. Also primed with the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Light 10, I believe. I know it's ColourPop, but I don't know the like shade. And then it's set with the Shop Miss A Porcelain setting powder. I just rubbed that over my eyes because I cannot stand tacky eyeshadow, like tacky like concealer on my eyes. It's annoying. But yeah, now I'm gonna go like off camera and just kind of like think about like what I want to do, because I'm not really sure. See, this is the part, like I really don't know like what I want to do since I don't have the palette like laid out in front of me. I have to look like from different shades in different palettes. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting the Jaclyn Hill palette and taking this shade right here, which was Watering Hole in the Killer Purr palette. This one right here that I just talked about literally like a couple seconds ago for y'all. But yeah, taking that shade that I just talked about from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is Watering Hole from the Killer Purr palette. And I'm just going to be putting that all in my crease, blending it out. Also dragging this shade that I used from the Jaclyn Hill palette on my lower lash line. It's so hard for me to show you like what I'm doing because like I have to hold the mirror really close since like I can barely see. So that's why I like to talk about it and kind of do it and then like complete it like off camera. So the Mighty Roar shade from the Killer Purr palette, I duped for these two shades in the Jaclyn Hill palette. Well, I really only said, I believe, this one, but I'm going to be mixing that one in just to kind of like see. But I'm going to be popping that in the crease to kind of like deepen it up a little bit. So yeah. I stray away from using the Morphe X Jeffree Star eyeshadow brushes just because they're so delicate. And like once you wash them, it's like over. Like you can't use it a lot after that just because it's so delicate. I'm just taking those two shades from the Jaclyn Hill palette that I was just talking about and just putting those in the crease, keeping them like really far down. I'm going to be blending them up and everything, but I just like want to kind of say like what I'm going to be doing. Going back in with the first shade that I used from the Jaclyn Hill palette, like the shade Watering Hole, and just kind of like blending those other two shades just to get like that nice blend. I really always judge a look like right when it gets started and almost like want to take it off. And then by the end, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't take that off. It looks sickening. Really like to blow out my lower lash line, almost like where I like my under eye bags are. I don't have that many, but like, you know what I mean? I just like to really blow it out. I feel like it looks the best. Okay, so I'm back and I finally finished the cut crease. I feel if I go like way too fast, it never looks good. So I wanted to like take my time and do all that. Shade Prowl and Lioness from the Killer Purr palette from Menagerie. And they are the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Thirsty palette, Lick shade, and then the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill second row 7th shade. So Lick right here, I want to go on the outer portion, like at a diagonal, but like on the outer portion. And then this shade right here from the Jaclyn Hill palette, this one right here, I want to go on the like inner portion. Something like that. Okay, so change of plans. I'm actually going to be taking, these are the two shades swatched by each other. The top one is the Jaclyn Hill and the bottom is the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. So actually, I'm going to be taking the shade Lick first and putting that in the inner portion. Just like basically switching them because I noticed that Lick from the Jeffree Star palette is lighter. I'm going to be spraying the shade Lick from the Jeffree palette because his shimmers have a lot of fallout, and especially these from the Thirsty palette because they're almost like chunky shimmers. Okay, so that is the shade all laid out, and like I said, where there isn't any like shimmer, I'm gonna put the other shade and kind of like diagonal it and blend it together. Now taking this shade right here from the Jaclyn Hill palette, spraying it because this one is a little bit more like shimmery and not as like glittery. I love this Jeffree Star X Morphe setting spray. I believe it was last weekend or the weekend before that. All Morphe collabs were 20% or 10% off at Ulta, so I like got a good deal. Okay, they actually don't look that different, but you can kind of tell a little bit, you can. But I really like it so far, and it's a cute look. I feel that, obviously my shades are not going to look like the palette itself, but I feel like that the greeny Tilly shade that I use is going to be a lot greener. So I'm excited to see, but you know, it looks cute. And now taking a different brush and taking the two shades, the two darker shades that I used, and I'm going to be blending just the edge right here. I wanted to use a different brush just in case like the glitters kind of like transfer. I don't like take that through my crease. Now I'm going to be taking the Morphe X Jeffree Star palette, and I'm going to be taking the shade Boss Angeles, but it's inspired by the shade The Hunter from the Killer Purr palette. Right here. And this one is the one that doesn't look exactly, but it's okay. So I'm aware this is not on the palette, but I would like to add to it, and I would like incorporate this without the regular palette. So I'm going to be taking the Juvia's Place The Queen palette and using the shade FDV Approved, this one right here. And I'm actually going to be using that on my brow bone and then inside of the Boss Angeles shade. That is the look, like, all complete. I'm going to go off camera and apply lashes to do this eye and then throw something on my lips. And we'll be back to, like, talk, discuss, show the look. Okay, so I'm back with the completed look. I put on my lashes, which are the Islas Beauty lashes in the style Cabana, my all-time favorite from Islas Beauty. And I do have a code with them that you can use code Joshua for 10% off. which works with both of their lashes and their glosses, which I'm actually wearing Coco from Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lipstick in the shade Celebrity Skin. So I just put this on first, and then I put this on over top of it, and it looks so sickening. The time that I use their stuff in a video, I always link it in the description if you want to go check it out. Look, I hope you enjoyed it. I had such a fun time creating this because like I used shades from my own collection, but I'm still going to be getting the palette. It should be here in the mail, like I said, the 1st of November, so we should be waiting on that. I'm super excited. Can't wait to get it. It's actually my first purchase from Menagerie, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That bell notification to get notified when I upload new videos, which is every Thursday, by the way. Make sure that you follow my Instagram. It's linked in the description of every video. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.